Hi, my name is Kevin Torres from Dayton, Ohio, and I will be the 2025 DragonCon Swag and Seek host. Let me introduce you to the Swag and Seek admins. From St. Petersburg, Florida, we have Francesca Genovese. From New Orleans, Louisiana, we have Alex Cannon. And from Augusta, Georgia, we have Maria Potter. Some of the things we'll be talking about in this podcast are how Swag and Seek has become a regular part of DragonCon, how to prepare for DragonCon, who can participate, how we communicate with each other, and the mission of Swag and Seek is kindness, friendship, and inclusivity. When I think of DragonCon, some of the staples I think of are the vendors, the parade, cosplaying, the evening balls, and Swag and Seek. Francesca, can you tell us how has Swag and Seek become such a huge part of DragonCon?
Thanks for being here, Kevin. Thanks for doing this for us this year again. We're very thankful to have you. Just wanted to say that before we get started. But yeah, how did it happen? I'm not exactly sure how it happened or how it caught on the way it did. But we've been doing this now for 7 years. Is it 7 years? Girl?
This will be our 8th. But
this is our 8th year.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So I mean, I don't know exactly how it turned into what it did, but I mean, it really has become a staple of DragonCon, and we can see this by the amount of people online that are posting about prepping their swag all year long, prepping during crunch time, looking forward to participating. I mean, we see that all the time. You know, there's people that start right after con finishes. They start prepping for the next year. I mean, we see that all the time, right? I mean,
I don't know how they have the energy, but good for them.
Yeah. I think it's the momentum of it. Right. So excited from, finding and giving that year. And then they just kind of get ideas right away and they start planning. But it's to me, I see it more and more becoming something that folks are planning for not as much maybe, but it's becoming more and more popular. It's becoming more and more I don't want to say expected, but I'm not surprised anymore when somebody says I've been working all year on my swag and as well as my cosplay.
A lot of people like to incorporate it in their cosplay too, which is pretty cool.
Yeah, I found that when I first sort of started organizing a place, our Facebook group, a place for everybody to exist, that's what I found mostly. The people that were doing it already, not always, but a lot of them were cosplayers that had swag that related to their cosplay, and their handler a lot of times would give it out as people took photos with them, and I think that sort of thing is becoming more and more common as well. Yeah, for sure. I mean, I don't want to say everybody knows what swag is at this point. That's not quite true. But I used to feel sort of awkward going up to people and wanting, to give them something and going through this whole kind of spiel explaining what it is. And I don't really feel like I need to do that too much anymore. I'll start and people will be like, oh, yeah, it's swag. Like, oh, I have some too. That's far more likely at this point than people not having a clue of what it is.
Although it is kind of fun to explain it to some people because they get so excited.
Yeah, for sure.
Like I had a guy who was like, oh my gosh, you guys do this? This is so nice. I've never seen something so nice. And he would get so good. He's like, can I give you a hug? This is the coolest thing ever. He's like, I'm going to tell everybody about it. It's really fun to see that too.
And that's how it spreads.
Right.
And that's awesome to see. But so how did it become so big? I don't know. It just resonated with people at DragonCon. I think this was like the perfect environment for it. I don't think this would work in many other conventions. Like I'm not sure that, at Comic-Con, could this happen? I don't think so. There's nothing against that convention, but there's not that like familial aspect to it. I think people are much more comfortable
it's not as commercial,
sort of interacting and giving stuff to each other and I guess there's
I'm kind of curious
Yeah.
I'm sorry, Alex, you've done so many cons. What do you think makes it different for DragonCon with the swag stuff?
Well, DragonCon is kindergarten. It's like first day at kindergarten where you can just walk up and make a friend with somebody. I remember, I don't know if it was last year or before, I was sitting down and some guy was like, "Can I come sit by you guys? There's no other place to sit." And then he's like, "Oh, if y'all want any, I have barbecue chicken right here. Y'all can have it." Obviously, you wouldn't take that from a stranger, but at DragonCon, you would.
You do.
You do, because I was eating pizza and I was like, "Oh, you have wings? You know what? Yeah, I'm gonna have some wings." So it's like, I don't know how to, it's like kindergarten. It really is like that first day of kindergarten where you walk up to somebody that you like their shoes and you're like, "Can we be friends?" That's what DragonCon is. So that's why I think it goes so well, because we have that, you're just that childlike wonder again. And
I think that's a great point.
So kind. So to me, DragonCon is kindergarten. I don't know.
I miss that too. I see my kids go up to somebody and they're like, "How old are you?" "Oh, I'm 9. "Oh, I'm 9 too." That's it. They're that's that's similar, to in DragonCon. It's like, "Oh, you play D&D? So do I." That's it. We're friends now, and that's, I think maybe that you're right. It has something to do with it. It's just like a built-in openness that you don't find in too many other situations in life. That's a good point.
And the folks that have been coming to Swag and Seek, they're so giving, right? And spreading that kindness. And even if you're just there for the first time and you're receiving this, man, you get hooked right away.
Yeah, I think that's a good point. It's a little addicting. And it's not the stuff. At least for me, it's not the stuff. I don't think for many people it's the stuff. It's something about the feeling of that it gives you, there's something addicting to making people happy, I think.
And seeing the creativity, some people come up with some cool stuff, and being able to tell them this was a great idea, even if they found like cool stickers, just be like, "This was such a cool idea. This is a great swag." And just for them to be like, have that affirmation of,
I think that's a big thing too. People like, being validated, I guess, in some way. Sometimes we don't have people in our regular life that are also into our hobbies or want to see the crafts that we make. And, this is a chance to kind of show them off and have them appreciated. I think that might be part of it.
Yeah. Or you have a fandom that is rare, and I don't know anybody else who does that, but you have a sticker from that. Oh my gosh. It's pretty cool.
Yeah. And, sometimes it's like Alex said, it's just giving something you might need in the moment. Like, I remember I don't even know what hotel we were in, but we were just rushing through a huge crowd. And there was like maybe 4 or 5 people standing at like a high top. There was no chairs or whatever. They just were standing at a high top table, and they had chips and Larry's Crispy Treats and just like some random stuff, probably like leftover stuff from what was in their room. And they must have recognized me, because as I passed by, they go, "Swag and Seek." And I came back and they're like, take something, and that was just snacks. But it was like, hey, it was great. I had something right before I went to the panel that I was going to go watch. So, sometimes it's stuff that you need, and that's appreciated too.
Yeah. Or fans when you're waiting in line outside.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Yeah.
Those things that make our experience a little more comfortable or a little easier. Band-aids, little cosplay repair kits, those are all appreciated. And just the thought of somebody thinking, okay, maybe you can use this is really nice.
I will never turn away hand sanitizer, ever.
That's important.
Yeah.
Yeah. One of the things that I think is very special about Swag and Seek is that literally anybody can participate, whether you're young or old, whether you're crafty or not crafty, whether you're an introvert or an extrovert, whatever your mobility is, everyone is welcome. I think that's really special.
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely. And I think too, being aware of it, I've had so many people come to me and say how just our page alone, let alone our atmosphere at the con, but just how safe they feel, how they feel like they can come in and they don't have to worry about being judged or being, having to worry about all the craziness from the outside world, and just seeing kindness and feeling safe. And And I think that's great. And I think too is to remember that that is incredibly important when we're spreading kindness. Is the main goal, as Francesca has said, is to give without expectation of return. But part of that giving is also understanding how to give in a way that is a positive experience for the person receiving. I am disabled myself. I am legally blind with chronic illness. And for me, when someone comes up and hands me swag, sometimes they'll actually tell me what they're handing me. And I'll be like, oh my gosh, you're describing what you're handing me. Oh, it's a mushroom keychain. Yes, this is awesome. And I can like understand what's going on. And I just love that kind of understanding, especially, you know, if I have my cane, it's very much obvious. But there's also other people who, you know, maybe don't quite understand. There's a lot of neurodivergent people and people with anxiety and have issues with being in crowds and get overwhelmed and overstimulated, and someone walking up to them and saying, here's some swag, and they'll be like, what's going on? And being able to, you know, recognize, oh, hey, I want to give you something. This is what it is. It's a Pikachu purse. Do you like Pikachu? Oh, yes. Great. And if they say, no, I'm not interested, but great. Have a great day. Like, to be able to understand that, you know, sometimes trying to show the kindness is going to make more of an effect, because if you show that you understand, even if they say that they don't want it, and you show that, okay, I understand, that's going to be like a better experience for them, because they're not going to feel judged. They're not going to feel misunderstood. And then maybe next time when someone has swag, they'll be like, oh, I understand what that is now. I can do that. Also, you know, a lot of people with mobility issues, they can't go search. They can't go find things. And so it's kind of fun to go to disability services and just kind of have stuff laid out on tables where they can see it, or just say, hey, does anybody want some swag in a group? And they'll raise your hand, or, you know, things like that, and be able to really just include the people who may not be able to fully participate and understand, you know, that they appreciate being seen. We always appreciate being seen. So that's a big thing for me, is just understanding that, you know, we can have good intentions, but we also need to understand where the other person is coming from.
Well,
On
yeah,
that
I think
end.
compassion comes into it a lot.
Yeah, and empathy.
Yeah, it's been helpful. You know, Maria has her disability. The three of us all have our own, you know, disabilities, and that's really, I think, kept us mindful of how we run the group. Our group is actually probably one of the most heavily monitored groups. I know to some people that might be a little bit annoying, but we do our best to keep it a safe place. We really don't allow for much of any negativity on there, because there's not many places like that where you could just, you know, tune out everything that might upset you or be you know, just negative. We just like to keep the atmosphere positive, and we do that by having rules like this, like what Maria was saying, or not rules, more like guidelines, where we ask people just please be as mindful as possible to folks as you're giving, as you're trying to include everybody. You know, please don't take
Always ask.
You know, don't grab people. Like, it might seem a little heavy-handed on our part. And again, we can't tell anybody what to do. These are not rules like but these are our guidelines that we do put out to just try and make it as positive of an experience to the most amount of people.
Right. And another thing too is, you know, there's a lot of people who on the other side of things want to give swag, but they have social anxiety, or they're autistic, or there's other things where they're not quite sure how to do it, but they really want to do it. And I think, you know, there's some tips that I have given out in the past of, you know, of course, when you're giving swag, you always want to get consent. You want to say, hey, would you like some swag? And maybe even tell them what it is if they don't understand. If they say no, I promise you it has nothing to do with you, and not to take it personal, because you put yourself out there and you did something kind, and whether they take it or not, you still did that. And that's something to be very proud of. But also, when you do give, there's different things. Like I will say, Now that we have all of our bags, and this logo is everywhere now. So I can guarantee you, if you see that logo on somebody, on a button, on a bag, whatever, they're going to know what swag is. And you'll be able to go up and say, oh, swag and seeker, yay, you know, or worst case scenario, there have been times when I've been too shy and I'm like, oh, I want to go give them swag. So I just walk over and I set it on the table in front of them and walk away.
That's the best part about this. Thankfully, DragonCon is, you know, in the hotels, like they allow us to do this. And if you don't want to talk to anybody and you don't want to like socialize, you can just go hide this stuff. And that's like one of the easiest ways to participate is just leave it around the convention, leave it around the city. As long as it's not anywhere dangerous or you're not like, you know, moving something that doesn't belong to you, you can leave that stuff there and walk away and maybe watch and see if anybody picks it up, or just, you know, go on your merry way and hope that it found the person that it was meant to find. That's the easiest way to participate in this, is just leave the stuff around as you go. You know, if you're too busy, if you can't stop and do this kind of stuff, pepper it around the city. You know, that's the easiest way, and you don't have to talk to anybody. That's the best thing is there's so many different ways that you can participate in this activity.
Oh yeah. And encouraging, because again, there's so many people at DragonCon. People aren't going to be able to post everything. We're not going to know. I think I've maybe seen 4 of my dragon eggs posted on the page in like 5 years.
I don't know if I've ever
people finding them. Right. So that's the thing. Like, it doesn't really, but just because people don't post it, just because you don't hear about it, doesn't mean it didn't go somewhere and somebody doesn't enjoy it. There are so many things that I haven't posted that I love. But I think the big thing is, and I do this post every year, and I know it's probably beating a dead horse, but I will continue, because you giving is what matters. There's no high value swag. There's no low value swag. There is, you are giving, you are taking time, money, effort, whatever. Even if you're writing a handwritten note for somebody, or you're saying your cosplay looks amazing, or you're beautiful, or wow, you're talented. Even commenting on a post saying, that's really cool swag. You are making a difference. And even if you don't have swag, if you come in and you're encouraging and you're paying it forward with kindness, like, that's enough. It's always enough. And I'm so thrilled with how our group, I would say a huge majority, like, I am actually kind of shocked of how amazing our group has been. You know, because you always hear on the internet, there's always, you know, people who mess things up. But really, we've been able to do this for 8 years because 99% of the people in our group are really just kind people.
Yeah, we've had really very little problems. I mean, we probably can count, you know, on one hand, people that we'd have to like ban or whatever. And that happens in groups, you know, DragonCon groups constantly. We're, you know, in contact with other group admins, and we don't have a fraction of the problems that they do. Yeah.
And it's also what Francesca, what you were saying about us having the rules. It's not for control. It's to keep that safe space. It's to keep that, you know, we don't say trades because we want everybody to know this is a freely given. We don't want anyone to feel obligated. Mm-hmm. It's not that you're a bad person. It's we don't want any guilt or feelings of I have to do something.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, Swag and Seek, it creates this opportunity where you can be an encouragement to somebody. And I love it. I'm not a natural encourager, but when someone gives something to me and I say, oh man, this is so cool, I know that brought joy to that person. And it's just a great atmosphere where we can be encouraging to other people, right? And bring them joy and show them kindness. One of the other things that I think special about Swag and Seek is that the members are encouraged to communicate and keep in touch with each other. You know, it's an opportunity to connect with other people. And the admins, they're open, they're accessible, and they model communication, which is a big part of Swag and Seek.
I would agree. I mean, yeah, we try our best.
We want people to feel safe coming to us and talking to us and asking questions. And
I would say Alex really took that on this year. As she had a lot of real life stuff to attend to, and she kind of kept the ball rolling, and she made sure she knew what was going on in the group and how people were feeling. And Alex, I mean, you probably have more to say about that than we do because you've been so much more interactive with people than we've been able to be this year. But
yeah, I actually threw up on the page. I asked members, mentioned that we were doing a podcast, and I actually asked if anybody had any questions or anything. Excuse me, if anything they wanted to know for us to answer. So Bobby Harrell, am I saying his name right?
Harold, I think.
Oh, Harold. Okay.
Shout out Bobby.
Yeah. Who's also a mod. He had a bunch of questions, but this one I really liked. He's like, do I have to keep all the swag I find, or can I regift it? So I thought that one was really cool. And I have to say, no, you don't have to keep all the swag. You can, if actually that day you find something and you think it's really cool, but you're like, this isn't for me, you can take it with you and go rehide it.
Yeah, that's always a good thing to do.
You can take a picture of it and post it on the page and be like, now I'm going to go rehide it. Mm-hmm. I do that all the time because I'll see something hiding and I'll be like, ooh, my sister would like this. And then later I'll hand it to her and she's like, I'm just going to go regift it to somebody. I'm like, okay. Yeah. So do y'all have instances?
Yeah, I would say I tend to do that. I try not to bring, I have 2 little kids. If you saw the room that I'm in right now, you would see how cluttered it is. I like to bring them home stuff, but I try not to, bring the amount that I used to home. So if I see stuff that I think somebody else would like, or I just, I see something sitting there that maybe could go into a better spot where people might see it a little bit more easily, I'll move things from place to place, or I'll just rehide, regift. But the other thing that I like to do is I will take it home, but I'll sit there after con and I'll go stocking stuffers. Okay. And I put them in categories of who would like this or who would like that. And I, either save it for Christmas, stuff stockings with it, or I, save it for when I know it's going to be somebody's birthday and I'll, put it with their gift or whatever. It sounds weird to be shopping through my swag, but I know, there's plenty of stuff that I come home with that I feel like friends and family would appreciate. So sometimes I take it and I know in my mind, this is for somebody that, that I'm going to give it to later. So that's something that I do as well. Do I keep it? I take it home, but I don't wind up keeping all of it. Or sometimes I'll save it for the year after. And if I go, this didn't really serve me, I took it at the time, and I didn't wind up doing anything with it, it's going to be better off with somebody else. Maybe I'll repackage it, put a tag on it again, and give it the following year.
I like to, sometimes I'll give, I
was going to say, it's like that one piece of swag was used multiple times to show kindness multiple times.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah. The traveling swag. Go ahead, Maria. Sorry.
That's okay. I was going to say, I like to, anything that I don't need, but I think is cool. I'll either, I like to have a little treat bowl. And if I'm going somewhere or I have people coming to the house that are helping me with things, to be like, oh, you just mentioned you had that interest. Hey, I have this really cool little thing. Here, thank you for your help. That kind of thing. Or one time my husband, we were in a drive-thru and there was a girl who had a fairy necklace. Mm-hmm. And I'm like, oh, I have fairy swag. Hand this, that kind of thing. It's kind of fun to do that too and bring it outside of the con.
We took some leftover swag this year and used it at the Renaissance Festival. Usually I'll bring stuff to that anyway, but there were a few things where I thought that they were just themed perfectly, so I let the kids give those out.
That's great. So we have another question from okay, wait, her last name. This person's last name, I'm gonna have a problem with it. I looked up how to pronounce.
You just say their first name.
Okay, it's Jules, and her last name is I'm totally gonna butcher that.
Jules, they'll know who they are.
Yeah, Jules. Last name K, first initial. Okay. So yeah. So how do you make it obvious that an item is swag or meant to be picked up? So if you're hiding swag somewhere in the convention, well, that's a really good question because basically we ask people to use our Swag and Seek logo and make labels. So we actually have them on our page that from other fans have made. And prime example is this little thing. Someone made their own little note. They made a notepad and they also made their own little note for you to know that this is Swag and Seek. So this is not a lost item. This is something that you can pick up and take home with you or pass on to somebody else. But all their labels can be found in the files on our page under features. Sometimes their files are a little tricky. With Facebook, it's glitchy. So if you look in our under features tagged, I have a post already. I think we have it from our DragonCon profile page that is about logos and whatnot. And I think I posted everything that everybody had on there. I did our logos. I did examples of different labels if you're having trouble retrieving the files.
And people can just ask. We'll on the page, somebody will.
Yeah, that too. And we can usually we can tag you to it too.
Mm-hmm.
I've also noticed when you put the hashtag or the Facebook page on there, it shows them that, oh, okay, this is a group, this is a movement. It's not just some random thing.
Yeah.
I've noticed that kind of helps too. And then also they can share it. It's a way for them to share what they found.
I would just reiterate, if you don't see that tag on there, even if you're super sure, even if you saw somebody put it down, just don't take it.
Yeah, if it doesn't have the tag, because like other examples, we have this tag, and they also they put the Marriott carpet on the back, and then we have a sticker, which is a great little swag item. So I just have a couple other examples, but
they have to be
safer to
tagged.
take it to lost and found if you're in doubt than to take something if it's not
And
tagged.
if it just does not have that on it, I would just, as a rule, just don't pick it up. Just to eliminate any possibility of misunderstanding. Look for that. Unless somebody's handing it to you directly and saying, this is for you. If you find it and it does not have that tag, just move on.
Oh, sorry. I was reading my notes. So we have one more question from Mackenzie Fisher. What should someone expect from the Swag and Seek meetups, and do you have to bring swag to go? So I love this question. So we have meetups daily. Meetups daily. And you don't need swag to come. Like, you can just show up and come meet us. Like I said, it's kindergarten. So just show up. We'll tell you hi. But if you have swag, great. So a lot of our meetups are they're pop-ups. They're very informal. You just come. You'll most likely see the bag that Maria was just showed an example of. You may see that color, or you may see our new bag, which is green this year. Very
Hunter green. I'm so excited.
Yeah. So, but if you see those bags or you see that logo, you know you're in the right place. Like I said, a lot of our pops are very like informal, and it's just people walking around giving each other gifts of swag. For our Thursday official panel, that is located at the Hilton Ballroom East, right? East Ballroom.
Hilton Grand Ballroom.
Yeah. And that one, it's a little bit more, it's a panel. So we have to, we do a presentation. We have everybody come in the room, and then we just talk a little bit about actually what we're doing here.
That's our official one that can be found.
Yeah. On the app. And then basically, after we do our little talk, you can just walk around and talk to fellow swaggers. And if you want to meet us, there will be a line where you'll see that there's a line. We'll have people that point it out to you, so you can come up and talk to us, because that panel tends to be pretty big. I think we normally see 1,000 people, or we saw 900 people last year. Yeah.
Well, we got rid of all 900 bags last year, so yeah.
And they call to us. That's where they can get like our official DragonCon stickers, pens, stuff like that. That's where
and we keep if you don't get in the room right away, don't worry. We like I said, we have to do like a little talk for like 10 minutes. And so once we do that, we'll reopen the door. And once people leave, we'll allow more people to come in. So we tend to have a revolving door for that for our panel, it's a 2-hour panel. So like I said, we try to see everybody who's in the line. So,
and the bags are first come, first serve, because we buy them with whatever donations we get from the group. So however much we get is however many bags we get. And once we run out, we run out. But those are our gifts to people who come in for the panel.
Mm-hmm. And I would say that's a good way to swag if you either can't make it this year or you don't have time to do anything else. This year it might be a little bit late to do, but for next year, if you just say, hey, I'm going to put $5 into the pot for bags, that's a great help too. You've given bags basically to 5 other members.
So I'm getting really excited just talking about Swag and Seek. So where can people go to find out about where and when are the events for this year?
Okay, so that's a great question. So you can go to our if you go on the page and under events, the top of the page, that's where all our information will be listed. By the time this video gets seen, we'll have all that up. Like I said, we have daily events, and then the only thing that y'all are going to see in the app when the app finally hits the DC app will be our official Thursday panel, which is at 7 p.m. And yeah, and that's and for any other questions or rules or anything, you can also find that on our page under featured.
And I think as soon as we have that information, our producer Steve's going to put it in the description of this video on YouTube. So that's another way. It'll be there eventually.
Perfect. So DragonCon, it happens once a year over an extended weekend. I'd like to know, how has Swag and Seek flowed into your everyday life outside DragonCon?
Well, for me, besides being an admin on the page, and I'm pretty much look at it throughout the year, it has become kind of like a family business. I have my partner and my sister who I have incorporated into it, but for actually at con. But besides that, I want to say I just try to be kind because the world is really hard right now. So even if I'm walking down the street, I don't know if that's just a little bit better because it's just easier because I'm in the South and we can smile at people.
Yeah.
But usually for me, it's holding the door open for another person walking into my building, holding the elevator, telling somebody I like their shoes. So, because you just never know if that little bit of kindness will help someone and improve their day.
Yeah.
Hey.
I guess for me, I mean, like Alex said, it's part of our lives because we all year round are pretty much devoted to keeping it going. And besides the fact that I have swag tags all over my house and at various times of year have, all sorts of things that remind us of DragonCon, I try to have my kids do similar things in their lives, for their friends or just around our town and try to do it locally. A lot around the holidays, my kids will do little random acts of kindness. But one thing that they always do is they fill up a cart that stays outside of our door from Thanksgiving to Christmas Eve. And they fill it up with snacks and water bottles and stuff for our delivery drivers and mail carriers. And they're in charge of stocking that, keeping it full and just doing something kind for the people that are giving us all the things that we need throughout the holiday season. So that's one thing that I have helped my kids do that's similar to Swag.
For me, it's more of an extension of what I've done. I got into Swag and Seek because, Francesca, I met her when she started it because we had been talking beforehand because I had already been handing things out and making dragon eggs. I used to have charity that was based on random acts of kindness, that kind of thing. So it's more of just another extension of a message that I've been trying to spread for years through both just acts of kindness and disability advocacy. But also it's like Alex has said, my husband, my son, I've incorporated them. They've become very much involved in it. And my daughter now, she's just like, I want to go trick or treat at DragonCon. Like it's very fun to see her and for her to be excited and be like, what can I give? And for her to look and be like, oh, I have this thing. Can I go be nice to this person and understand because she's younger? But also being able to, because we had the big Hurricane Helene hit Augusta, and we were not prepared for it last year. And to be able to go out and think of, okay, everybody's going to this horrible time. What can we do? I can't go out and buy everybody food. I can't, but there's these kids that are out and they don't know what to do. I can bring a little fidget toy and be like, hey, here's something for you, or something, just something small, just so even just for the kids to be able to have something positive while they're going through such a scary time, because we would all hang out at Target because it's the only place that had power.
Yeah.
So just things like that, just to be aware and to, even when it's in times where it's not, it's a scary time, to be able to be like, let's see how we can make this better for people in small ways.
Yeah.
Yeah. Being kind can be contagious, and it's very much needed, as Alex mentioned.
Right.
And
Evan, same question. Can you answer that for us? Has it gone into other parts of your life as well?
so I do try to look for opportunities to swag people, because I know that it's just great to receive something like that. And also throughout the year, I'm looking, hey, is there something like there's 50 pieces in something, and I buy that and set it aside, right to give away. Yeah. But so I want to thank everybody for listening to the podcast. Hope you got some information about it, and hope you got a little bit excited about it. And if you're not already a member, join the Facebook group. It's DragonCon Swag and Seek. There are over 10,000 members. Everybody's posting on there, posting questions, posting what they're going to share. And it's just an awesome group to be a part of. And so I don't always go to DragonCon. When I do, I go to Swag and Seek. Stay thirsty, my friends.